Thank you very much for watching. Special edition of Paul Murray Live. Fired up late on this budget night where the information is rolling in, the reaction is hot and fast, and we're checking in with the crossbenchers who will help determine what does and doesn't pass the Parliament. Should Labor or the Greens decide to, as they have consistently, block anything this government wants to do when it comes to passing some big ideas that they think will get them re-elected at an election, maybe late this year, but most likely at the start of next year. Joining us now is Senator Cory Bernardi, the Leader of Australian Conservatives and the Leader of the Liberal Democrats, none other than our mate Senator David Leyonhjelm. Senator Leyonhjelm, let me start with you first. I know there's many issues to get to, but I want to ask you directly and first about the cigarette tax as part of all of this. It is an extraordinary series of assumptions that have been made here about what is going to happen with cigarette taxes. A big assumption is that that the same people who got $90 million out of the illegal cigarette market will find $3 billion in the next 12 months, and if they don't, we're not in surplus.
Yeah, you're quite right. As you said in your introduction, $3.3 billion has to be raised from stopping the illicit tobacco market. So in other words, all those people out there who are buying illegal tobacco will be unable to buy it, and they'll switch across, and as practically as all of them. The KPMG study said that the total illicit tobacco market was worth $4 billion in lost excise to the government. So the assumption in the budget is $3.3 billion out of that $4 billion will be returned to the government, because most of the people who smoke the illicit tobacco will say, oh well, I can't buy them from that shop anymore, I'll have to go and buy the stuff in plain packaging. And none of them will change their behaviour. None of them will say, well, bugger it, I'll switch to vaping. None of the smugglers will say, well, if we can't get them in this way, we'll get them in another way. We'll get a bit more creative about bringing them in. I mean, it's ridiculous. All those assumptions, they're all wrong, of course. They'll never raise anything like $3.3 billion.
Well, as I said, 90 million is what they were able to get last year, and good luck if they're going to be able to multiply that many times in 1 year. But we'll see what happens. Overall, what do you think about the things that'll come before you, like tax cuts, things that'll be pretty much like the company tax cut situation, where it's going to roll in over a long period of time? What do you think about what are going to be the fights of this budget, Senator Leyonhjelm?
Well, I always vote for tax reductions, as you know. It's a general policy of mine. I never knock one back. But they're spread out over a long period of time. However, the government has tried to be clever about it and targeted at least this year's tax cuts at low-income people. Now, will Labor and the Greens refuse to pass it because there are also tax cuts for the high-income earners? I don't know. I don't know if they'd be that mean about it, to sort of deny the low-income earners a tax reduction. It's quite possible. There could well be a fight over it. They'll obviously keep fighting over the company tax cuts. So I can't see them getting through unless Senator Cormann has a bit of luck with the what was called the NXT people.
Just finally, is there anything in this budget that you're disappointed that it got included, or disappointed that it was excluded?
Well, look, I've been saying for years that the government is spending far more than it's bringing in, and the deficit is a problem, and the debt is a problem, and we're passing on this problem to our, to future generations. Spending in this budget will actually be higher in real terms than it's ever been in our history. Now, what a missed opportunity. And I did my alternative budget in the Financial Review last week, and I pointed out heaps and heaps of areas where spending could be reduced. The only thing that's stopping them is the politics. They think they can't do it and win the next election. All that shows is that they are terrible at selling their ideas. They really ought to lift their game at arguing for fiscal responsibility.
That's why I'm always with you about passing a law to balance the budget. God forbid we did that anytime soon. Senator Leyonhjelm, we will talk again in the future. We'll do it plenty of times over the next little while, and we've got an interesting idea we'll start playing out with some of your other Senate colleagues in a few days' time.